Parashat, Parashat Yitro. Yitro is the famous parasha for Aseret HaDibrot. We're reading the Shabbat, the 10 Commandments, right? Receiving the Torah, the whole Ma'amad HaSinai, right? But this parasha is found in two places, Parashat Yitro and repeated Parashat Vayetchanan. Also, this parasha of Aseret HaDibrot is found in two versions, which the Halakha calls Ta'am Elyon ve'Ta'am Tachton. In Ta'am Elyon, most of the Ta'amim are found on top of the letters, right? Ravia, Kadma, Shofar Mu'upach Kadma, right? Segelda, right? All those Ta'amim. In Ta'am Tachton, some Ta'amim on top, a lot of them are on the bottom. Tevir, right? Merchat Tipcha, right? All those Ta'amim are on the bottom. So, in public, when we read Kriyat HaTzibur, we read Aseret HaDibrot, Ta'am Elyon. So always you have like a small kochavit, asterisk, and it says, turn to page, or on the bottom of the page, right? Always a Ta'am Elyon. This is the Minhag Israel. Everybody reads Ta'am Elyon, B'tzibur. When you read it, Shnai Mikra Echad Targum, you read it Ta'am Tachton, right? You read the regular way it's written in the Chumash. Agaon Vilna, he points out a nice remark. There is small changes in Dibrot Rishonot and Dibrot Shniyot, right? I'm not going to go into this. There is small differences, right? In our first Dibra, Anochi Hashem Elokecha Asher Hotziticha Me'eretz Mitzrayim. In the second one does not say Asher Hotziticha Me'eretz Mitzrayim. Okay? It says, Kibud Avaim, Kabed et Avicha v'Timecha, Dibrot Rishonot, Leman itav lach, Leman yerichun yamecha. Second Dibrot, Leman itav lach. There is some differences. Dibrot Rishonot, Zachor et Yom HaShabbat lekadesho, Shamor et Yom HaShabbat lekadesho. There is differences, right? But it comes out to the same. The Torah has reason why it changed from Dibrot Rishonot to Dibrot Shniyot, right? But the Gaon Vilna points out a difference between Ta'am Elyon and Ta'am Tachton. He says, the Gaon Vilna, on the sixth Dibra, right? Sixth commandment. It says, Lo tirtzach. ובטעם העליון נקרא לו תרצח בקמץ. Under the tzaddik, you have a kamatz, right? So kamatz is the bar with the small bar going down. לא תרצח. And he says, but דיברות השניות, but בטעם תחתון, the לא תרצח is with patach, right? With patach. לא. תרצח. צח. Right? patach. The question is, does it mean something? So for sure, every change in the Torah means something, right? So you have to be the Gaon Vilna to go down to the depth of the Torah to understand what the Torah wanted to exactly with the Shinui Tam. Just with not the Tam, Shinui Nikud, right? The punctuation. The Torah for sure meant something. Why would it change? I can understand if the Torah changed the words. This I can understand. Leman yarichun yamecha, leman itav lach, right? Zachor, shamor. Okay? I can understand. But does nikud have a meaning? For sure, yes. We have to understand. Says the Gaon Vilna Chidush. He says like this. Yesh lomar, sheromez, this comes to insinuate to us, lema shamru chazal bagmara avodah zara yutet amud bet. It insinuates what the Gemara says in Avodah Zarah 19b. My dichtiv kerabim chalalim mipila. She made a lot of people dead. Who are we speaking about? The Gemara over there says, Ze talmid shelo higia l'horah umoreh. The Gemara says, Ma ze rabim chalalim mipila. He made a lot of people dead. Is somebody, a talmid, right, who learned. He didn't learn deep enough. People respect him as a Talmid Chacham, but he doesn't know so much. And they ask him, Shabbat, can I do this? Yeah, it's mutar. It's Isur D'Oraita. Can I eat this? Yeah, no problem. Chazir. Can I do this? Everything. He's making everybody doing Isurim D'Oraita, the Rabbanan, whatever he's doing. Because lo higia la'ora'ah. Ze rabim chalalim mipila. And he says over here, V'atzumim. Kol arugea, Shlomo Melech, as if he said the same thing. Ve'atzumim, even more than that. Atzum is even more than that. Kol arugea, all the ones killed because of her, of it. זה תלמיד שהגיע להוראה ואינו מורה. This is speaking about תלמיד חכם, which knows exactly everything, all the halacha, all the ins out, all the chilukim, all the differences, and people ask him, אני לא יודע, לך תשאל רב אחר, go ask another rabbi, leave me alone, I'm busy now. So he goes to other rabbis which don't know as much as him, and he could help people, and he does not want to help. So basically you have somebody שלא הגיע להוראה, ומורה, and he's telling people what to do, and רבים חללים, and then greater than that, is שהגיע להוראה ולא מורה. Right? Says the Gaon מווילנה, כן? שניהם רוצחי הנפש. Both of them are considered murderers, according to the Torah. Not like physical murderer, right? But spiritual murderers, right? And זה נרמז בפתח ובקמץ, כן? לא תרצח בקמץ. מה זה לקמוץ in Hebrew? Close. לקמוץ is to put together, close up. Close your, that's the difference. קמץ, פתח. קמץ, פתח. So, קמץ, לקמוץ. Where this go? So he's closing his mouth. על מי זה מדבר? תלמיד חכם שלא מורה. A תלמיד חכם that does not want to teach. פתח, who is it symbolizing? לא תרצח? עם הארץ שמורה. או תלמיד שלא הגיע להוראה ומורה. So the Torah is insinuating both הרוצחים, both are considered רוצחים, זה רוצח בסתימת הפה, this one kills people by shutting his mouth, and this one kills people by opening his mouth. Right? So this is the difference between the Tam Elyon, Tam Tachton, Kamatz Patach. This is what the Gaon Vina says. I want to elaborate a little bit more about this thing, right? So we see sometimes, you have to say, you have sometimes, you don't have to say. When the Milchemet HaMifratz, when the Gulf War started, right? There was a debate amongst big Rabbanim. Are you allowed to tell people asked, are you allowed to keep the radio on Shabbat? Are you allowed to keep the radio on Shabbat to listen to the news? Why? Because sometimes when the Scads came down, they gave order to people right away. They have a few seconds to run to the miklat, to safe places, right? To bunkers, whatever, right? So are you allowed to tell people to open the... Some Rabbanim says yes, pikuach nefesh. Other Rabbanim says no, because people are going to carry that even after the war. Are going to carry this after the war. Ele maiminim velas minim, this says yes, no? The rabbis decided, הולכים לגדול הדור. Right? When you have a machloket between Rabbanim, this says yes, this says no, we יכולים לגדול הדור. Why גדול הדור? Because he has siyata dishmaya. גדול הדור, even though he might not be the biggest posek, right? But he has siyata dishmaya. So they chose Rav Shach. Huh? יש הרבה... כן. בזמנו היה רב עובדיה יוסף, אחר כך היה רב כהן זצ"ל, כן? עוד מעט. So, they went to Rav Shach at that time, and they asked him, what do you suggest? How should we go about it? So Rav Shach, also, he was mistapek, right? He said, to tell people to keep the radio open, I'm scared, right? Because people might take it as a heter, right? To tell people not to open, isur, להגיד להם isur, I'm scared also. Why? He says because people are going to disobey, and this is worse. When people don't listen to Rabbanim, this is worse. If Rabbi says not to do and people do, זה יותר גרוע. אז אמרו כבוד הרב, אז מה לעשות? What should we do? He says, אל תגידו לא לא ולא כן. Don't say open, and don't say not open, and let the people judge, right? Let the people, why? Because if they leave it open, זה מותר, right? We didn't say that, so they can never come back and say, oh, הרבנים התירו, the rabbi said it's mutar, right? And to say asur, we're not going to say, right? But we didn't say not to open. So whoever opens, זה לא נגד הרבנים, it's not against the rabbis, right? והשאירו את זה ככה. זה צריך חוכמה. This you have to have חוכמה. When to say, or when not to say. Or leave it parve. Not yes or not no, right? And this is because if you open your mouth, you might kill people. They might carry it to the rest of the year. And if you close your mouth, right, you might kill people also. They might do against the will of the Chachamim, which is worse also, right? So he left it, או אמר, תשאירו את זה ככה. Leave it like this. לא כן ולא לא. Leave it. כל אחד יסתדר. Each one should get along with this. The same thing we find many times, right? Things that we are mistapek, right? What I mean? Means sometimes we're in a situation we don't know what to do, right? Why? Because this rabbi says like this, that rabbi says like this. For example, the Taz, he says in the Chot, we're knowing now, Chot Amira La'akum, the Taz says, don't compare the Shvutim, which means sometimes you're not allowed to tell a goy to do something for you on Shabbat, right? This is the general ora. This is the general rule. You cannot tell somebody, a goy, do it for me, open the light, close the light, boil this, cook this, right? You cannot, right? In certain situations, Chachamim did give permission, right? But don't compare. Don't say, oh, if they permitted this, for sure this is, take it case per case, right? Don't think it's a general rule, right? So you have to know what to say, what to say. So don't say, because they permitted this, so you have to be very careful what to say and when to say. Rav Yitzchak Yosef, I heard from him once, there was a story that after the war in Mitzrayim, there was a lot of unfortunate soldiers that passed away, right? And a lot of them were captured, right? So there was a lot of ladies which were agunot. Agunot means a lady. We don't know what the husband is. He dead and she's allowed to get married again? Or is he alive, he's captured and she's not allowed to get married? Everything was in a doubt. No one knew, right? No one knew. So they came to Rav Ovadia with facts. They found a boot of one of the soldiers in the third, so it means he got bombed, all kinds. And Rav Ovadia and few Rabbanim, had to sit case per case. There were like 100 ladies like this, which they had to take case per case. And you have to understand, it's not like one day. It's sometimes a few days, weeks, to find the heter, right? According to what they found and what they think, right? So Rav Yitzchak Yosef said his father was able לשחרר 99 agunot out of 100. 99 cases of the 100, he was able to find heter, al pi halacha, they should get married. You should be able to get married. Simanim, no simanim, there's also sugyot. One case, he told his son, and he's not able to find. And he was looking. After many weeks, Israel and Egypt, they had like achlafat shvuim. They changed prisoners, right? So there was a plane of captured soldiers of Israel came back to Israel. Rav Ovadia took one of his talmidim and he told them, please, take the name. He gave him the name of the person that he was trying to help his wife and he couldn't. And he told them, go there and just make sure if he's on the plane or not. So he goes there. The soldiers come down and they take their names one by one, and the soldier is not there. Lo haya shama. Wasn't there. Okay. Then the week after, another plane came with other soldiers. So Rav Ovadia again sent his talmid. He said, go check now. Maybe he's going to be on this plane. He goes and he checks. Everybody comes down. He's not there. So the talmid asks, that's it? No one else on the plane? Says, no, there's one more. He's walking on kabayim. He's walking on his crutches. Okay, so he's waiting. At the end, the guy comes slowly. He told him, what's your name? He told him his name. It was the guy he's looking for. He says, you're not dead. He says, no. When he came back to tell the Rav, he says, if the rabbi would have said, Ishto yochla להתחתן, could be married, she would get married, get pregnant, have a baby, the baby would be mamzer. Min hashamayim, they saved him, they didn't let him find a heter for this soldier. Right? So, it's not like you say, oh, I did 99 cases. Each case has small differences, right? That you don't, sometimes you don't even know, don't think, and min hashamayim, we don't see a siman, like bracha, that really this is that. Al titasek b'zeh. So sometimes it's a mitzvah to say lo yodea, right? Not like the Gaon Vilna says, if you know and you don't say, that's rotzicha. But don't be hasty to say, right? Don't be hasty to think about it. Sometimes you think something is so clear in your head, you say, it's mutar. Just think before you say that, make sure what you say is about to be the right thing. שלא יהיה מכשיל את האחרים, זה רציחה. If you tell somebody to eat something and it's not kosher, right? I'll tell you a story. The Alon Shabbat brings down, there was a rabbi in Yerushalayim, somebody came to ask him about etrog. אמר לו פסול. It was אברך. He went and he bought another etrog. והרבה, בשביל אברך, it's a lot of money. חול המועד, the rabbi was thinking about 1 second. This etrog that I told him פסול, בעצם הוא קשה. He went and he took an envelope, he put money, and he wanted to bring it to the אברך. וידעו, אני מצטער. I misled you, right? And I have to pay you for that, right? So he went and he paid him. שילם לו את האתרוג. Why? He says, I misled you, so it's my responsibility, right? So he didn't want to take any אחריות on this. So that's the way you're supposed to approach the laws, right? Another thing, when you say already something, when you're sure and you want to say clear things, דברים ברורים. So the shoel doesn't have a ספק. So Rav Zilberstein brings down, there was a Rav, חולה, somebody was sick, came ask him a question. That Yom HaKippurim, he has to think, he has to drink. אז הוא אמר לו, he told them, תשתה כל 10 דקות. Every 10 minutes, take a cup of water. In middle of Kippur, באמצע כיפור, הוא בא אליו, and he's telling him, he's showing to him like the water already don't have where to go down. He drank so much. The rabbi caught his head. He says, wow, what a mistake. I meant to tell him, when you need to drink, you should drink with the space of every 10 minutes, you should drink a cup of water. But he took it literally, every 10 minutes to drink. So the poor guy, from the night of Kippur till the midday of Kippur, he was just drinking and drinking. You feel the water was coming out of his ears already, right? And the rabbi realized, "Lo amarti lo et ze nachon." I didn't say the right thing. That was the right thing the right thing to do, but not the right thing the way it was said, right? So even if you say something, already you're sure and you want to say something, say dvarim brurim. Say the clear things, so the person doesn't have a safek. He meant this, sometimes you say to somebody and then they go back and say, what did the rabbi mean? The rabbi mean that, the rabbi mean that, and they're embarrassed to come ask you, and they might do the wrong thing, right? So it's your responsibility also, the way you present it, the way you tell it to the person, תגיד לו דברים ברורים. Say clear things. שלא יהיה ספק. So he shouldn't be in the doubt. And make sure he understands what you say, right? Sometimes you even can repeat it to say, מה הבנת? What do you understand? Right? Tell me what I understand what I said, right? If it's דברים פשוטים, okay. But if something like drinking on Kippur, דבר חמור, it's a very חמור thing. So you have to know how to say such a thing, right?
How can you explain B'shat Adchak or Tzorech Gadol? How do you explain that clearly?
What do you mean Shat Adchak?
Like a lot of times in B'shat Adchak you could be matter. So how do you explain that to somebody?
So everything, Shat Adchak is case per case. So again, you need a lot of Siyata D'Shmaya, right? And you have to make sure, let's say like this. I was speaking about, let's say somebody, he's a little bit sick and the light bothers him, right? So there's two options, right? Let's say he cannot support the light. But 1 second, is there an option to go in another room? Yeah. So what are you going to tell him? Yeah, לפי ההלכה זה מותר לכבות לך את האור. But there's another option to go to another room.
Is it bad?
Huh?
Another room is
Yeah,
bad?
you can go to another room.
Like,
Yeah, means you can manage in somewhere else, right? In another room, right? So we have to be careful not to.
אבל למשל אתמול חשבתי על זה כשלמדנו, איך רב, עם כל הגדולה שלו, איך הוא יכול לדעת אם החולה יש בו סכנה או אין בו סכנה.
That's already a
ומי
case.
שיתעלף, תקרא לאמבולנס.
היום יש ספרים על כל זה, על כל
Yeah,
מחלה,
exactly.
מה נקרא סכנה או לא.
That's things that you see on the spot. That's
הם יודעים את זה,
יש לנו,
זה משהו שלומדים
יש
אותו.
לנו פה, זה.
yeah. Somebody fell down. You're gonna say שיש בו סכנה.
לא, יתעלף.
התעלף, so you wake him up. Depends.
אם הוא רק אמר, זה סכנה. אם הוא לא קם, זה סימן שיש בו סכנה.
So, right? So to tell you that, how do you call this? A person should be niz'ar in what he says. לפעמים יש מצווה לפתוח את הפה, open your mouth, and לפעמים the mitzvah is to close your mouth, right? And you have to use the chokhmah. And always, you have to ask Siyata Dishmaya. Always have to ask Hashem to be able to say the right thing. That's why Rabbi Nechona ben Akana, the Gemara says, when he used to come to Bet HaMidrash, right? They saw him, רואים אותו מתפלל. Before he starts learning, הוא מתפלל משהו, כן? שאלו אותו, מה אתה מתפלל? What are you praying for? He says, אני מתפלל שלא יארע דבר תקלה על ידי. I'm asking Hashem, please Hashem, help me today. What I learn, I shouldn't learn the wrong thing. Sometimes you learn something. כן, שלא אומר על טמא טהור. It's interesting, it says in Bet Yaakov, הלכות שחיטה, the Bet Yaakov says, שוחט, שאמר, that he said on an animal not kosher, when it was kosher, מעבירים אותו מהשחיטה. You take away his knife, לא שוחט יותר, אתה לא תשחט יותר. מה עשה? If he said on something not kosher, I understand. He gave people to eat taref. But if he said on something kosher, it's not kosher, what's wrong? Okay, the worse. בל תשחית. אבל למה תיקח לו את זה? Why you take him with his knife? אומר רבי יעקב, you should know, כלל בחיים. If somebody says on something which is kosher, it's not kosher, so at the end, he's going to say on something which is not kosher, יגיד כשר. קח לו את הסכין, take away his knife. כן? אתה לא בטוח? Don't say anything. Don't say. If you're not sure, don't say, because then you're going to make it, you're going to work worse. מה אומר רבי חנניה בן הקנה? רבי נחוניה בן הקנה, what did he say? שלא אומר על טמא טהור, ולא על טהור טמא, ולא על מותר אסור, ולא על אסור מותר, ולא יקשלו חבריי בדבר לך. He used to pray every morning before he's opening the Gemara, the Shulchan Aruch, Hashem תציל אותי, save me please, שלא אומר על טמא טהור, something which is impure, I'm going to say pure, and even something which is pure, I should not say it's impure for nothing, right? To lose it. ולא על טהור, ולא על מותר אסור, I shouldn't say something which is permissible, אסור, which is also a sin by itself, right? For this you need Siyata Dishmaya. And this Siyata Dishmaya only if you pray. So you need prayer and you need learning. זה לא מספיק רק להתפלל. Somebody's going to pray a whole day ולא ילמד. מה, רק בתפילה אתה רוצה להצליח? אתה לא יודע שום דבר, זה תפילה. Somebody's going to sit and say תהילים the whole day, right? And after somebody's going to ask him הלכה. אני חושב, I think. מה זה אתה חושב? זה שולחן ערוך. שולחן ערוך, מה אומר שולחן ערוך? מה אתה חושב? This is what you have to learn. But even when you learn already, it's not enough. You have to pray. So basically it's tefillah velimud, which go together, right? Tefillah velimud go together. Just each one has its time, right? You cannot say tehillim when it's time to learn. And you cannot learn when it's time to pray, right? When it's time to prayer, somebody's going to say, no, tell me, עוד מעט שקיעה. Mincha is going to pass. כן, אני חייב לגמור את המגן אברהם, I have to finish. Yeah, it's very good you want to finish the Magen Avraham, but after that you're going to pray after the Shkia, Mincha, right? So you should know the boundaries, the limits, but always pray and learn, so you should be able to say the right things and open your mouth at the right moment and the good times. Baruch Adonai L'olam. Amen.